In this video, I'm going to talk about how I managed to get success in dating despite having severe social anxiety. And I'm going to explain how you can do the same. But first, let's talk about some embarrassing stories because I know that's what you really want to hear. When I was 18, I tried to go approach girls. And the first time I did, I had anxiety so severe that I ended up going to urgent care and getting an EKG, getting blood work done because I thought I was dying of a heart attack. I had a panic attack that severe. When I was 16 in high school, my crush leaned in. This was my first opportunity, leaned in to kiss me at a New Year's party. I turned away and ran away because I thought she was trolling me. And I just had story after story after story of completely failing in regards to dating. I didn't even kiss a girl until I was 19, and that first girl I kissed, I didn't even find her attractive. It was just first option that was very available, I guess you could say. And I was diagnosed with panic disorder, and I had severe anxiety. Panic disorder is the most severe form of anxiety in general. It's the one that lands people, it sounds silly if you haven't experienced it, but it lands people in the emergency room. I've had panic attacks that I would say overall were a worse experience than when I broke my femur bone, right? Like it's not physical pain exactly, but it's extreme discomfort, I guess you could say, just extreme not feeling good. It feels like shit and it feels worse overall. If I could choose one or the other, the leg would be better, right? Less suffering or whatever. I had anxiety attacks on a multiple times per week basis. Even when I wasn't having an anxiety attack, my anxiety was always at about a 7 out of 10, the vast majority of the day for a couple years. My anxiety was severe. When I took the test for how severe your anxiety is, I got a 24 out of 24, maximum possible score. Not to brag or anything, but yeah, kind of a badass that way. My anxiety was extreme. Whenever I went on a date, the rare chance where it happened, I messed it up. I either didn't go for the kiss, or I did in a really awkward way, or I just acted weird and try hard and awkward and went terrible. And for me, the idea of approaching a girl was so overwhelming that I managed from the ages of 16 to 21 not be able to do it, even though I was reading about game. Right? Even though I was learning about dating advice, reading all the books, watching all the videos, doing hypnosis tapes, doing everything possible to figure it out, except go approach women. Because the times I tried, it ended in disaster. The second time I tried, I was with a friend, still couldn't do it with a wingman pushing me. I mean, he couldn't either. He approached one really overweight chick and got her number and better than me. But I walked around my campus for about 2 hours. Then I had a Four Loko. And once I had the Four Loko, I thought, liquid courage, let's go. Still couldn't do it. Walked around for another 2 hours, didn't approach a single girl, and I didn't try again for years because in my mind, this meant it wasn't for me. I couldn't handle it. My social anxiety was too severe. I'm too much of a loser. I made rationalizations. I don't remember exactly what I told myself, but I came up with excuses that I need to develop myself more, my core confidence, and then one day it'll be easy, right? And that never happened, but eventually when I was 21, I was going out to bars alone. I did have some friends, but none of them, they pretty much all had girlfriends, or they were too cool to want to go out with me, one or the other. So I went out. At first, for weeks, I didn't approach a single girl. I just couldn't get myself to do it. But eventually I met a guy. His name was Matt, who was talking about game terminology that I'd heard from the game, or something like that. I introduced myself. I was like, hey man, are you talking about picking up girls? And he's like, yeah, mate, let's go do it. And he was a very charismatic, outgoing guy. He was very much a Russell Brand archetype, British, talking about birds and bangas and mash and all that crap. And so he approached in front of me, crushed it. He would get girls' numbers. He was a decent looking guy, but he wasn't particularly good looking. So it was really impressive that this guy was able to just get girls fawning over him, basically. So I saw this, and then he told me to do it. And because of the pressure of someone else wanting me to do it, and now I'm not just failing myself, I'm failing this other person, that was enough to get me to finally do an approach, to finally talk to a girl. Now, it went terrible. It didn't really go anywhere. It wasn't good, but it was a huge monkey off my back. It felt amazing, the fact that I was able to get myself to do this despite my severe anxiety. And then I started going out with this guy. I don't know, he liked me for whatever reason. And we started going out and approaching girls together. And I wasn't good at it at all, but after doing it a few months, eventually I would luck into, one girl just liking me enough and me taking the lead enough where I ended up hooking up with her. Now, my anxiety was still severe, but over time I was able to get it to a point where it was not a big deal with a few things. One was practicing mindfulness meditation on a daily basis. It's one of the best, if not the best, self improvement habit that anyone could do. Practicing meditation as much as possible, especially in a world when we're constantly distracted, we're constantly thinking. There's all this noise, right? As someone who has recently stopped, for the most part, watching TikTok and YouTube shorts, I see it and I hear it, and it's like this you feel like how distracting it is, how meaningless it is. It's just not something that I think is good for you. And practicing meditation helps you be okay just being in the world, like not needing some form of distraction, and actually appreciate, it sounds kind of maybe gay, but have gratitude for literally you'll hear birds chirping and like be entranced by the birds chirping when you are more mindful, when you're more present, which comes from practicing meditation. And scientific research has shown that meditation helps with any kind of anxiety. It helps with depression. It helps with stress. It does a lot of positive things that have been neuroscientifically proven. The only other close habit in terms of self-improvement would be exercising. That's also extremely good for you. But meditation neurologically, maybe even more so. So over time, practicing meditation reduced my anxiety to tolerable levels. But funny enough, I think the thing that reduced my anxiety the most, not just social anxiety, all anxiety, was going out and approaching women, specifically without drinking. Because there are periods where I did it with drinking, those had the opposite effect. But doing it while not drinking, the exact reason for this, I have my guesses. I couldn't say for sure, but it's something I've had other clients of mine tell me they've experienced as well, that it just reduces their anxiety, their depression in general. When you go out, you're dealing with a lot of anxiety, a lot of overstimulation. We all have something called the optimal level of arousal for ourselves. So for someone with high anxiety, that optimal level of arousal is low. And so a high arousal environment, not sexual arousal, I mean, could be, but a high arousal environment like a nightclub is overwhelming. And so when you go to a nightclub again and again and again, and you're facing your anxiety head on by approaching women as well, you start to grow accustomed to it. And then normal life becomes free of anxiety, has much lower anxiety because you're used to this overstimulation. That's my hypothesis. And then the best way, the most essential technique that you'll hear from like cognitive behavioral therapy and scientific research for anxiety, the one thing that's generally always recommended is exposure. And anxiety is anxiety. It can be triggered by different things, but the emotions are very similar. So if you can deal with anxiety in a social environment while approaching women, any other anxiety you have, not only will your social anxiety go way down, but all of your anxiety will go way down and stop being so overwhelming and something that really takes control over your life. And so, if back in the day, wheat waffles and the black pill and the red pill, the rainbow gay pill, whatever, if all those pills were around when I was 18, 19, 21, I may have believed that and ended up being some kind of incel. That's entirely possible. But the culture back then that was available was people talking about taking action, don't be a bitch, test your hypotheses, test your beliefs. If you believe cold approach doesn't work, go try it, see what happens, and then decide based on actual experience rather than just assuming because you heard someone say something online. That was go test your theories, go test your beliefs instead of just letting what someone else said determine your beliefs. That was the culture back then. That's what I did. And I was able to slowly get better and better. And my social anxiety was so bad, at some points, I would even just try to lean in to kiss a girl, or the thought of doing that, I panicked that I would miss. I'll like kiss her cheek or something, and she'll laugh at me. I would have those kinds of thoughts run through my mind obsessively. So if I was able to overcome social anxiety that was so bad, and by the way, none of this is medical advice, if I was able to overcome social anxiety that was so severe that I ended up getting an EKG, going to urgent care, at other times going to actual ERs and having very severe panic attacks, where I literally was almost certain that I was dying. If my anxiety was that bad and I thought, a girl tried to kiss me and I ran away, that was my instinct. That was my reaction. Didn't even kiss a girl in high school until 19. If that was me, then it's definitely possible for you. As bad as your anxiety may be, I can almost guarantee that it's not worse than mine was. If I was able to overcome it, anyone else can overcome it too. You just have to be willing to face discomfort because anxiety grows if you avoid it. If you avoid it, you're telling it that it can control you. You're giving it more power, and then it will dominate your life. But if you feel anxiety and your instinct is to face it more and more over time, it shrinks. It realizes it doesn't have power over you, and then it ceases to exist because it serves no purpose. So that's how I overcame severe social anxiety and ended up having dating success anyway. Now, if you want someone to help push you through the initial stages, like I had someone push me through sheer luck, then I offer in-person coaching. You can click the link below to learn more. But no matter how bad your social anxiety is, no matter how little experience you have with women in general, I will be able to help you get to the next level and cut years off your learning curve so that you don't have to take 5, 6, 7 years to get any results where you're just mentally masturbating like I did. So click the link below to learn more.